Hey, Eagles fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into the Eagles Report. And today, let's take a look at 5 wide receivers the Eagles could draft at number 21 overall in the upcoming April 2020 draft. There's a ton of great wide receiver talent. We're going to dive right in with my list, the top 5 receivers they could take if they're there at number 21 overall. Before we start, subscribe to the Eagles Report. We're so close to 4,000 subscribers. Help me out. Click the subscribe button and thumbs up. And the Eagles are going to take a wide receiver in the first round. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so we talked about it before here on the Eagles Report, but we know the Eagles need a wide receiver, and they really need a star wide receiver because, as we know, Alshon Jefferey, he's not getting any older. They might trade him this offseason. Nelson Agholor, he's likely gone in free agency, and with 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, we are expecting the Eagles to go ahead and get a wide receiver in the draft. Now, could they go to free agency? Sure, and we talked about that in a video where we linked up top 5 wide receivers the Eagles could sign in free agency. Now, though, the young guys, the future superstars potentially here in the NFL draft. Let's start with Jeudy, the wide receiver out of Alabama. He's a Blitnikoff Award winner 2 years ago as a sophomore. He was a runner-up this year, but this guy is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL draft. The pros are simple: explosive, great route running, and again, the most complete wide receiver. The cons are he took a little bit of a step back this year in terms of overall statistics, and he's probably not going to be there at number 21 overall. Now, if the Eagles think he's the best wide receiver in the draft, then they can trade up to get him, no problem. But the odds of him being there if the Eagles stay at 21 are very, very low. But he's an absolute monster. 77 catches this year for 1,163 yards and 10 touchdowns just as a junior alone in an Alabama offense that featured 2 other star wide receivers. So he still got his with Tua at quarterback. And get this, the Eagles need deep ball explosiveness. We know this. 33% of his catches in 2018, the best year he had as a sophomore, went for 20 or more yards. A third of his catches were big play catches for over 20 yards. So Jeudy, the wide receiver of Alabama, makes a ton of sense to the Philadelphia Eagles. If he's there at 21, barring some sort of weird pre-draft, revelation comes out about him that he's a bad guy or that he is injured or whatever, had a bad combine, bad interview, unless he's there. And if he's there at 21, you draft him instantly. If not, it's a trip to go ahead and get him. I think he makes a lot of sense for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jeudy, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver in the upcoming April 2020 NFL Draft. How about the next one? CeeDee Lamb, the wide receiver out of Oklahoma, a Blitnikoff finalist in 2019. Great speed and great ability in terms of run after catch. He's a guy who can make people miss. He can break tackles and get some burner speed out there where he has a ton, like we said, yards after catch potential. He can do it at the college level, but also do it at the NFL level. The cons here, the Big 12 system. Now I know, right, the Big 12 still has a lot of NFL players year in and year out, but the one position the Big 12 has seemingly struggled to go ahead and produce, besides quarterbacks, besides, I guess, Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, is wide receiver. You think about a Blitnikoff winner at Baylor a couple of years ago in Corey Coleman, the best receiver in all of college football that year. I think it was 2017. Did nothing. First-round pick by the Browns was terrible. You look at other first-round wide receivers, other Big 12 wide receivers, they just cannot seem to figure it out in the NFL. So if there is a knock on CeeDee Lamb, it is the fact he played in a Big 12 system. Route running tends to be a problem for a lot of these guys. I don't see any of that with a guy like CeeDee Lamb. He's been a 4-year starter there at Oklahoma, been a stud year in and year out. He showed to have the explosiveness the Eagles need and other teams need as well, and he's shown to have really overall an ability to be a true number 1 big play target for a team going forward in the 2020 season. 42% of his catches in 2019 went for 20 or more yards, almost half. Jeudy at 33%, and it looks like with a guy like CeeDee Lamb, 42% of his catches went for 20 or more yards, which means, again, big play potential, something a lot of teams out there, including the Philadelphia Eagles, could really use going into the 2020 season. Moving on. Higgins, wide receiver out of Clemson. Listen, the red zone threat. This is going to be the big guy, the great catch radius, 6'4". He has great hands. He caught a lot of his passes while at Clemson and has great catching ability as well in terms of overall catch radius. He's a jump ball guy. He's a big target. Think a guy like Julio Jones. Think a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. Go out and snatch the football. The problem is he lacks a little bit of speed. And if you're the Philadelphia Eagles or another team that needs speed, T. Higgins is not the fastest receiver you can have in the first round in terms of overall explosiveness. But the numbers are unbelievable. And he played against freshman sensation Justin Ross, right? So he had played with Justin Ross. So another great receiver was catching balls for Trevor Lawrence as well. Still caught 59 passes for 1,167 yards and 13 touchdowns. Again, all while playing with Justin Ross. So even a guy like Jeudy, who played with Henry Ruggs, he produced. But just like that, T. Higgins did the exact same thing. For a team like Philadelphia, and again, it's Eagles Report here. I know a lot of other guys are watching this just to get an idea of wide receivers in the draft. From a Philadelphia Eagles standpoint, T. Higgins to me does not make a lot of sense because of the fact we already have a possession receiver. If you keep Alshon Jefferey, that's essentially what he is. And if you want to go ahead and get a jump ball red zone guy, you drafted him last year to Stanford via J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Now, Whiteside has not been very good, but that's kind of similar to what T. Higgins is. And I don't think the Eagles want to have a stockpile of big 6'4" receivers. They need to get faster. Height's not the problem. Speed is the problem here. And Higgins is quick, but he's not as fast as some of the other wide receivers in this group. So I'd say the con there is exactly that. Speed is a problem for a guy like T. Higgins. But again, most likely will be there at 21 overall. So if Jeudy is not there or CeeDee Lamb is not there, T. Higgins might be the pick you run up there at number 21 overall. Moving on, another Alabama wide receiver, just mentioned him. Henry Ruggs, the wide receiver, out of Alabama. Great on film, but the stats are not that great, a.k.a. incredible route running, incredible run after catch ability, but when NFL scouts put the tape on, they're going to see a guy who was a little bit overshadowed by other great wide receivers that have been there during his time. The pros, though, how about 4.25 speed at his Bama Junior Pro Day? So the Bama Junior Pro Day of 4.25 means he's probably going to run a sub 4.3 at the NFL Combine. Speed gets you drafted. Speed moves you up that draft board. So look for a guy like Henry Ruggs, who only had 40 catches, 746 yards, and 7 touchdowns in 2019, to be drafted a little bit higher just because he's going to be an absolute combine machine and run a sub 4.3 40. Another good thing about Henry Ruggs, he led the nation with a 154.4 passer rating when targeted and is likely to be there at 21 overall for Philadelphia. So really, really good news there in terms of a potential guy you don't have to trade up for, but still has the speed you're looking for, the big playability you're looking for. Henry Ruggs is just that to me. Out of this entire list, he's the most likely pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. In a lot of mock drafts, he's the guy the Eagles have been mocked to go ahead and get, again, a star wide receiver out of Alabama. A little bit lacking in terms of on-film or on-field film. I think a lot of scouts might get a little bit hesitant because of them. And the stats weren't exactly Jeudy, T. Higgins caliber, but he still is going to rub a sub 4.3 at the Combine. If you want to get speed for Philadelphia, this is the guy you want to go with. There are other great receivers. Again, it's a heavy receiver draft, but speed overall is something to look at here, and Henry Ruggs' 4.25 is going to be very, very hard to pass up on by a lot of teams, including Philadelphia at number 21 overall. Final receiver here on this list. There's a lot of great receivers we left out on this list. We're going to do another video later on in this process, looking at other receivers you could get in later rounds. The TCU is a great receiver. Baylor has a great receiver, but one that definitely stands out, it's Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver out of LSU. When Joe Burrow, a pro-style quarterback, was throwing him the football, he absolutely popped. He had the most catches of any wide receiver on this list. Great size, great hands, great route running, and he even dominated playing alongside another great wide receiver in Blitnikoff winner Jamar Chase. How about 111 catches, 1,540 yards, 18 touchdowns, and again, because T. Higgins and CeeDee Lamb and Jeudy and Henry Ruggs will most likely be there at number 21 overall for our Philadelphia Eagles. So Justin Jefferson, another option there if you want to go ahead and get a wide receiver in the first round. Here's the point of this. Now, again, could you go ahead and get a corner or a linebacker at 21 overall and be just fine? Yes, 100%. You totally could. But this is a wide receiver heavy draft. It's a healthy draft to go ahead and move up or stay put and get a wide receiver. Normally, there's one or two max good wide receivers in the first round of an NFL draft. There are 5, maybe even 6 with the TCU guy thrown in there that could go in the first round and make a ton of sense for a bunch of teams. Now, we said before, Eagles' problem is the Raiders are ahead of them, they need a wide receiver. Denver is ahead of them, they need a wide receiver. There are a lot of teams ahead of them that need a wide receiver. So if you want to go ahead and get the one you wanted, like a Jeudy out of Alabama, might have to trade up. You want to stay put, though? Don't worry, because there are a lot of great wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb, he could be there. T. Higgins, Henry Ruggs, and Justin Jefferson as well. We're going to be doing a lot of videos like this regarding our Philadelphia Eagles. We're looking forward to potential draft picks going forward in the 2020 draft. So be sure to subscribe. Out of this list, though, which wide receiver would you rather the Eagles go ahead and get? If you pick anyone on this list, which one would you guys go ahead and get? I would pick Jeudy because he's the number one wide receiver and the best wide receiver in this class in terms of overall prospective star potential. But if I couldn't have Jeudy and I couldn't have CeeDee Lamb, I'd be very surprised the Eagles do not go ahead and get a big threat down the field speed target like Henry Ruggs, a 4.25 speed there at his 40 at his junior pro day. He's going to run a sub 4.3 at the NFL Combine. That is fantastic news for an Eagles team that has completely lacked any sort of speed. And we saw what they were with DeSean Jackson, right? They were fantastic with DeSean Jackson. That was a deep ball, big play threat. You keep him this year, which they will. Add another one alongside maybe Alshon, Jefferey, and JJ and the tight ends. Woo, this offense could be very, very explosive for Carson Wentz, and we look forward to seeing what is going to happen. We know this. The Eagles are going to get a wide receiver somehow. They're going to get one in free agency, or they're going to get one in the draft. We've heard rumors they want corner in free agency, wide receiver in draft. I'm fine with that because of how strong and how loaded this wide receiver draft class is. So we'll go ahead and wait and see what happens. Again, subscribe to the Eagles Report. We're doing crazy good things here. If you try and become your #1 Eagles YouTube channel, we're the fastest growing on YouTube right now. So go ahead, drop a like, and subscribe as well. I would greatly appreciate it. For the Eagles Report, though, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Did you like that video? Thanks for watching, but why don't you click this video right here, because we did it just a couple of days ago, and guess what? It's about the Eagles too. Like that video? Why don't you subscribe right down here? That way you're notified whenever we release more videos here on the Eagles Report. It's the fastest growing Eagles channel here on YouTube. Video, subscribe, click them right now. Go ahead, click them.